Welcome to Graeme Games. My name is Graeme. This is a game. Today I'm playing the demo for Crown Siege. People have potentially seen this one around already for the last little while. I think the first playtest was like a month or two ago, but this was signed by Two Left Thumbs. And we've been working with the developers to enhance the game, polish it, add new things, kind of come up with creative new ways to expand upon kind of quite a linear formula that tends to follow incremental style games. I'm really excited to show off the way things have gone. Steal it, take the crown, we need it, more crowns. A lot of this stuff is going to be quite new. We're really polishing things up here, and some of this I wouldn't have seen yet. We've talked about this intro, I haven't seen it yet. Oh, I gotta click it a couple times. Okay, there we go. You'd see some of the goblins lurking in the shadows there, ducking and hiding in the bush. It's actually pretty damn funny. So, you have gold up here. There's no tower yet, but you have a base HP. You can see troop of 1. And they'll follow around next to your mouse. There's a little bit of gold. Pick up as it's getting dropped by the goblins. And as soon as you have enough, you can spawn in another knight. And so things start off very simple with like a very limited number of units, and you can get taken down very, very easily, but you're kind of supposed to for the very first dawn there. And we can switch over to the upgrade tree. There's kind of a tracker of the different biomes that you're going to move your way through. So right now we're in level 1. You could also switch over to automatic, which was kind of the original version of the game where the units run around and do their own thing. But they recently added following the cursor, which is kind of nice to have it be like a hair more active a gameplay. I like that you can just switch between them really easily like that. And the very first upgrade to pick is the tower. Start defending your kingdom properly. Initial tower health 10. Do you know what I just realized? I think I have the music turned off. I do. That was for recording footage for like a trailer or what have you. So there we go. We have proper music in place now. So hopefully that adds a little bit more life to everything. Tiny bit more XP. I can afford a little bit more. Increase the amount of gold you start with. Yeah, that I'm going to go with that. I love the way the vines grow their way out and branch around. I think that just feels really good. So there we go. We now properly have a tower, and we have a bit of starting money, so we can just instantly drop in 2 knights. I got to run them over and keep them away from the tower. Maybe I need to be playing a little bit closer to home there. But you also don't want to miss picking up the coins when they're available. I got taken down pretty quickly there, I would say. But incremental game, you pretty regularly are able to come back to this menu and reinvest in things. I'm going to switch to automatic. Potentially not permanently, but I kind of just want to show. So like instead of being attached to the mouse, they're free to do their own thing, and they'll kind of just lock on to enemy units when they get near. This was the original version of the game, so this is actually a little bit more what I'm familiar with. I do like having the option to switch to manual, and maybe you could jump in and defend the tower in instances like that where things are getting a little hairy. But I kind of like having the automatic version of things. It's very satisfying to just spew out units and let them do their thing. So letting the tower contribute and start shooting, I think, is a good early investment. You can see the tower kind of gets respawned there. Allowing the tower to defend itself goes a long, long ways. I think our general survivability here should go up pretty significantly. You guys are doing wonderful work. I gotta remember to keep an eye on that and be spawning in more as soon as I can. And it might seem like that's very simple gameplay, and that's, because it is. But I think it's a really fun spin on the incremental formula, because you get the very simplistic passive gameplay. We have the arrival of the goblin boss here, although I think I'm about to die anyways, so I'm not going to last. It's very simple passive gameplay, but there's something very satisfying about building up to have like hordes of units defending to fend off hordes of units attacking. I just love the feeling of that. So more gold getting dropped, tower shot more often, tower health, knight health. Yeah, maybe I want to keep the knights alive a little bit more. Increase the amount of gold dropped by enemies. I think I'm going to put one into that. I got a bit left, so shot speed, tower health. Yeah, that looks like about all I can afford for now. But you can see the tower is even starting to get a little bit bigger now. As you're investing more in the tower, it starts to very physically improve, which I think is very satisfying overall. So I think this is timer based rather than being a matter of like units killed or anything. Yeah, I'm fairly confident it's timer based. So you have the nice warning that the boss is going to be showing up. I still don't think I'm quite there to be able to survive it properly. Where the extra money earned is going a really long ways. Extra night health, they're staying alive a lot better. Oh yeah, there it is. I was like, we hit the range there. When's this boss going to show up? Takes a second. Taking their sweet time, making a grand entrance. Really. Oh my gosh, the smash! There just blasted the knights away. That's actually, I feel like that's been made a little punchier. Maybe there's a little bit more room for some sound effects to add to that. But the way it just tossed our units around is like pretty satisfying. Tower shot damage. More shots from the tower. Unlock the archer. I am going to go for that one because the cost of buying new units scales separately for the knight and the archer. So simply by having both, you tend to be able to afford more units. They both do scale up with each purchase. So, 13 I buy a knight, 15-14. So they don't scale equally, which kind of it kind of encourages you to branch your spending a little bit and alternate which ones you're buying. But you could always choose to like go really, really hard on the knights if you wanted. This is part of why I like the automatic attack is like rather than following the cursor, is the archers can kind of hang back by the tower and attack anything that's coming from any direction. Whereas if everything's following the cursor, you risk kind of leaving the tower a little bit more exposed. So I like giving it this approach. They can kind of linger back and maybe try and take out this boss. We don't really. Oh yeah, we do have a health bar to go off of. While they're focusing on that, we're not really earning any money, and they're just kind of getting picked off. Not bad. Spawn like one knight in to try and keep the boss at bay away from nuking the archers. Didn't quite work out. You can see there's a few things like magic or this one over here that have that crown shape on them. Same as the original one there. You can only actually buy those once you've beat a boss. So they're kind of walls within your progress. You can kind of just upgrade around it. Auto gold pickup, you literally only have to buy that one the once. This next attempt is probably not really going to go any better than that previous one because I didn't invest in any additional upgrades or anything. I think a key part of incremental games is finding a good balance between active and passive gameplay, and I think it's something the game does well, where picking up the gold is like, yeah, that's like a fine point to include in terms of a bit of active gameplay, but it really only works in the very early stage of the game, because pretty soon, there's enough gold being dumped all over the place on the regular, and we're like nowhere near the full scale of combat here, that I do appreciate being able to switch that over to being passive, along with a bunch of the other things like the enemies running around and attacking. And so I personally do like having that option, and I like that the game kind of switches. Oh man, our tower's getting toast. You just went straight for the tower this time. I guess I honestly didn't really end up with knights very much. I never felt like I had the nice wall of defense that time around. But then your cursor starts having other roles, things I haven't really received yet. Strength aura, that's actually one of them. You need a crown to invest in it. But then I also like how this is organized in terms of the branching. Up until that point, your cursor is used for collecting gold or moving your units if you want. And as soon as you switch that to being automated, you open up the option to have the cursor do something else. So you have the strength aura that you can follow your units with and boost them. And then there's the heal aura. Use your cursor to heal your troops, but that's not in the demo. And we'll start to see a bunch of the different kind of edges of this tree here where that's the limitations and, little teases of what will be coming in the full game. Let's see. What more should I be investing in? Double gold chance. Spew out a lot more gold. Maybe increase... No, I'm gonna focus instead on reducing damage taken, knight damage, knight health. Maybe one more into knight armor, knight damage there. Yeah. So that should be a pretty noticeable jump up in the power of the knights, so I'm hoping they stay alive a little bit better so I can build up the army a little more effectively. The last attempt or two there, I feel like they didn't really last very long. Maybe next thing I'll go investing in the tower itself. I think scaling the knights up, since they're kind of the front line of defense a lot of the time, is a good option. Although while they're busy tanking damage, having the archers picking everything off is like not only satisfying, but kind of required. Everything's required. I feel like a good thing this game does is make every new branch satisfying. Like, we're not doing that well a second ago, and all of a sudden we just ripped through half of this boss's health like it was nothing, but couldn't quite survive long enough. But you know, it's kind of funny, like a couple of attempts ago, that was roughly how well I did, but I feel like you can feel that it's moving forward some. There, I'm going to take this archer damage just to open up the other branches, because one of them, the tank, is a different unit, not available right now. You know, I don't know where it is. I'm pretty sure there's like a twin fire thing for the archers. Attack speed, and then double shot. That's where it is. So it's quite expensive. It's relatively deep into the tree, so maybe it's not the right time for it. You know, what if I start with the archers? I want to see how effectively they can pick off just a couple of goblins before they are even able to, like, lay a hit on anything. Maybe this is a good strategy, is start with the archers. Let them really... see, now it gets dicey because, like, as soon as they start getting overwhelmed, they can't defend themselves all that well. But that was actually a pretty effective start. And the knights currently have a good amount of health, so if I can just let them tank things and have the archers really lobbing shots, what is the word I want? Lobbing volleys, I think is what I was going for. Like that, look at that, they're just melting the boss. There it is. That was a better approach than what I had done the last few. So now we got that crown. Oh, I got click it, same as before. Nice particle effects, everything. Nice fireworks. That's fun. Actually, I really love the fireworks effect. I love how that's been handled. So that's kind of like a threshold. You've completed the level, and it's time to move on to the upgrades. And now, rolling forward to the next level, you're making your progression through the forest, and then there's a secondary one. I really love how this has been handled. A lot of work went into this. It seems like a really simple thing, but the game used to kind of just progress on its own every now and again. Like the bosses were a threshold, but the transition, the moving through things wasn't felt as much. And now I think there's these nice delineated levels and areas that you're progressing through. And I really, really love how that has come together. You know what? More gold. I think if I just pump out gold, then I'll be able to build more units, and then that generally should go a long ways. Starting with more, it's not that valuable, but it's pretty cheap, so might as well put some into that. Increase the amount of gold dropped by enemies by 100%, so that scales up quite rapidly. And we do have our crown to spend. You can see over here the crown, and rage hasn't come up yet. Defeat raged enemies. Maybe this would be enraged, but raged enemies to get rage. Dividends. Earn 1% of your current gold every 2 seconds. That's a funny one. I don't think I've actually seen that one before. Yeah, you know what? I don't have access to the other... Oh, beat level 4 to unlock. Okay, so there are other thresholds. So I can't go for the magic just yet. That's fine. I will go for the strength aura. Additional ways of influencing the aura, its range, its speed. Let's go deeper into the knights. Is that what I should do? I'm honestly not that worried about tower health. If your tower starts getting rocked, you've basically lost anyways. Shot speed of the tower. That is a good one. I feel like I'm putting more thought into those decisions that is, like, realistically needed. But here you can see now I can start putting that rage buff on these archers here. I'm going to focus it on them a little bit. Although maybe it does make more sense to focus it on the knights, since they're the ones who have actually need to survive and do damage here. Ooh, okay, the scaling of gold is being felt really readily. Because now... Like, I wasn't even spending my money that quickly. I'm earning it more quickly than I was used to. I love that the new level starts introducing new unit types. So we now have these bear riders, which I think are like quite cute, honestly. So now we got to contest with 2 bosses, or well, it's a boss and then kind of like a mini boss sort of situation. So you don't actually get 2 crowns for making it through this. Right now, it seems very unlikely that I'm going to. The archers are not focusing on the bosses at all. That's fine. I'm still a ways away from that. The scaling, the gold scaling was really noticeable. So the amount you start with doesn't matter so much, but it's cheap. So let's just wrap that one up. More gold dropped is pretty huge. Double gold chance will scale very noticeably. And then, I got a tiny bit left over. Into tower health it goes. So let's see how well my archer first approach works on the second level. I kind of didn't do it on the other attempt there. It spews out a lot more enemies a lot more quickly, so I don't know if it's quite as effective. But I mean, I also, it's I gotta get catch up here. Gotta use the fact that I can buy a new unit every like 2 seconds. It scales up really readily. Ooh, we're starting to get some of the bomber goblins. I didn't even see him before he blew up. Not a lot you can really do about it. The game, in that sense, isn't especially strategic. Like a bomb guy's coming for you. You're not microing your team like you're playing StarCraft or something. You just spawn hella units and hope that they're able to do their thing. I was really trying to spawn in as many knights as I could to protect the tower as things were crowding in there. No rage still. Haven't had enraged enemies. Tower shot damage, maybe. Extra tower shot, that is pretty huge. I will go for that one. The dividends, I think that'll be more effective when I'm sitting on much larger amounts of money. Movement speed, health, attack speed, maybe. Damage, actually, you know what? Let's pour into archer damage a little bit. Move speed I'm not overly concerned with right now. Knight damage, knight health. Archer speed, yeah, okay. Maybe some of those pop-ups should pop up above the level thing there. Now I can't even like make it happen. Where there was some that were popping. Anyway, it doesn't matter that much. Flood my early units in. I don't know if I'm using the rage very effectively. I think once you have quite a number of units spawned in, then they're kind of all over the map. Which, maybe I should switch back to the cursor-based control and see how that pairs with the rage. Because I feel like if all my units are following my cursor and my cursor is giving rage, or, bloodlust or whatever it's called, because, the enemies get enraged. I don't know if that's the same thing that's happening to my guys. But if they're all following the cursor and the cursor is giving them a buff, then that should scale really, really effectively, right? Although I know I'm going to end up being like really tempted to just send everyone straight at the boss there. And then, oh man, okay, that went really well. A bunch of boosted knights, and then the archers took care of the second half there. I love that you can see some of the fireworks starting to shoot out of the tower there. Yeah, that went really, really well. That I cleared a barrier there very suddenly and very effectively. Something funny that happens there where it's only the last digit of the enemy slain that seems to like spawn in. The 11 was already there, and then it's like 6. There's kind of a weird lag there compared to the other numbers. I get what it's going for. Oh, did the music just change? It's nice. I like it. So let's switch to the cursor movement. And more gold, double gold chance. And that was it. Okay, no other power scaling then. So if I just flood everything on my knights. Okay, the archers keep their distance. That's kind of their deal. And that doesn't change a ton with the cursor-based movement. They're pretty good about being selective with their targeting. Like, they kind of just hang back anyways. And once these guys are fighting, it seems like they just stay fighting. Like, I can't really pull them away. So that makes things a little tricky where it's just like, oh, okay, there's a bunch of units coming from the other side here. Maybe I do want to run them over, like abandon this and go deal with that cluster. Yeah, the automatic might actually be easier, which makes sense. I feel like any sort of roguelike or Vampire Survivors like or anything of the last few years that have followed suit with that, the game is easier when you're playing with automatic firing. Makes sense that that is true here. 20,000, still not getting there. So where should I spend some more money? I do have another crown. Where's another crown upgrade? So attack speed with the knights, invest in that, and then the golden knight. 25% chance to spawn a golden knight, multiplies damage by 5, speed by 1.2, and health by 10. The golden knights are huge, actually, so that, I'm excited that I now have access to that. Let's work on some knight speed, knight health, keep them alive. Attack speed can go up. There, we really went hard on the knights. Funny, I think it's a 25% chance to spawn, so I figured if I spawned 4 right out of the gate, there we go. Now we get to see the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights are dope. Not only do they look cool, like I think they're just kind of hardcore, very Vegas core, but they also just strong and huge contributors overall. So I'm pretty stoked actually to have crossed over into that upgrade. And it looks like on level 3 here, we're cruising. We're going to have a boss showing up very soon. Explosives there. We're getting some big boys. Okay, there's a lot of the explosive guys. I am a little, more than a little. I'm very intimidated by that. I think they just put a big dent in my army there. It's Golden Knights, come on. Can you guys do it if I let you just really press? Hell yeah. Okay, they the few of them that lived there managed to really rip through the health there. Ooh. Oh wait, the leap ahead that I took with some of those investments was pretty huge. And now we have another crown. So maybe I want to be investing up here. But is it complete level 4? Yeah, so I have to beat level 4. Then I'll have access to the magic. Archer double shot increases the number of arrows shot by archers by 1. Huge. Glad I finally have that one. But then also multi-target allows archers to target multiple enemies per attack. Kind of funny because like is it even that much of an advantage? Because like if this is a double shot and you're shooting 2 projectiles, and then this is you shoot 2 projectiles but one hits one enemy, one hits another enemy, it's not different. In my mind, am I wrong about that? I'll invest in it still, sure, but to me it seems like that's like very lateral. It doesn't actually affect anything directly, so maybe that one should carry a bit more of a bonus or something. Like I don't know exactly what that would look like, but archer damage up for sure, especially if they're shooting more projectiles and hitting more targets, then more damage, more attack speed. That's going to go a long way. Invest in their health a little bit. There's nothing down there. I could go health tower shot damage. Lots of different instances of, whoops, I'm hitting the wrong button, of increased arrow damage flinging around on the screen now. Oh yeah, seeing those pairs of arrows soaring out of the bows there is very satisfying. Okay, this is the leap forward I was looking for. The last couple. It's not like the early game is slow. I hope you guys see that and feel that, and we would love your feedback on it. That with each round, you're usually able to invest in a couple things at a time, and that really quickly grows into quite a high scaling of power and new units, and your tower starts attacking and all those sorts of things. But now all of a sudden we're at a stage in the game where like we tend to live long enough and there tend to be enough enemies that we're able to get a lot of kills, get a lot of money, and reinvest that, which then lets us scale more quickly. And so there's a really exponential growth, which I think is really needed in a quality incremental game. Come on, can you guys take them down before they take the tower down? Narrowly, barely, but it did work out. So yeah, we're ripping through these levels. Now we need to move on to the new area, which is exciting. Scorched. Maybe there could be a little bit more, I don't know, some sort of cool transition to signify that. Maybe it'll be shown in the world itself when starting the next round. But you know, like the background could change, or like I feel like there are ways to play around with this screen because this is where that transition's happening. Like room to play around with that a bit more here. Tower fire arrows. Yeah, I'm gonna go for that one. That one's it's just kind of cool. Double gold chance for sure. Aura range, maybe, but I think I'm going to invest in one more shot for the archers. Better attack speed. Now let me switch up. Extra tower shot and their fire shots. So let me just kind of keep pouring into that. Tower shot speed, max that one out. Damage from the tower. And you know what? Now I can buy this one, even though I don't think I'll feel that one like a ton, since it's like 1% of your current gold, but you're just always spending gold. So like, I'm curious. And obviously that'll scale though. It's 1% now, but it has 5 levels. Unlocks the mage unit and magical abilities. So I'm really excited about that. This is also where rage starts to be a part of the game and the currency of the game. So now, like, I think it would be really cool if there was a little bit of a, if not a cinematic, just kind of like a cutscene, or like, yeah, a cutscene. A cinematic is more dramatic, but just generally a cutscene where we can show off the scorched effect happening, like a wave of fire that just rips through everything. I guess the downside of that is when the game eventually has more areas, if you set the precedent that there's like a big transition like that, then do you kind of create a scenario where you always have to do that, and will it always be as simple as just a wave of fire that rips through things? Hard to say, but I like the mages are cool. I really like the cool purple projectiles. Has a nice magic feel to them, and like they have kind of that cool explosion. Now we have this little like cute dragon boss that comes in. We're still fighting the goblins, but we're starting to get like a little bit more variety. He's running off. He's fleeing. He knows we've got him. Okay. I think that's a bug that the developers have mentioned to me, that sometimes the way target prioritization happens is like, yeah, they kind of just run off the screen. So it doesn't happen very often, and like the consequence of it is like, okay, the run ended 3 seconds sooner than it would have otherwise. The dragon's cool though. He's like a little cute little baby dragon, and it's very fitting of like this burnt down environment, so it's really cool. Cloning gives a 15% chance to summon a unit twice. That is like such a huge jump up. Heal troops. Troops heal when they defeat an enemy. That's a huge one for just like the survivability. Extra tower shots. I'm still not that worried about 10% mage. Sure, it's expensive, but sure, let's do it. Collect rage. Raged enemies start spawning. Defeat them to earn rage, which lets you branch off all through there. I'm actually going to focus first on kind of just like investing a little more heavily in some of these cheaper things where I can really start to max out the existing units, the things I already have. Funny, yeah, there's still a couple more things over here I can invest in. And still, okay, so the starting point of that is so cheap. I feel like I'm very much intended to. But it starts branching off to having things like spells, which is, again, the game has this push and pull of like mildly active gameplay that kind of transitions, like gives way to being more passive. And as that happens, it opens up room to introduce new active elements of gameplay. And I really love that push and pull where like as the game kind of needs less from you, it introduces other opportunities for you to be an active part of each combat. And I think that's just really, really, really well handled in this game. It's a big part of why I was first drawn to it. The main reason I was drawn to it is that I love horde-based gameplay. Anything where you just have like 100 units on screen at once. And I stumbled upon this one on itch, whatever it was, several months ago now. Sat down, like, yeah, sure, I'll give this demo a try. Played it for like an hour just right away. And the immediate feeling I was left with is that I have made this comparison a number of times to the devs and in other conversations. Like the end of Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, when Aragorn shows up with the undead army and they just melt through the battlefield. When you just summon all these units and they just run around in their pods, destroying everything. That's like the best comparison I've been able to make, and I love that aspect of the game. Always have, and through the many different ways it's been iterated upon, expanded, and improved, that has always remained a core of the game. Improve the mages, more raged enemies. Okay, so I do have a bit of rage, which is why I can afford some of these things, actually. Increase the chance of rage, more gold from raged enemies. There's kind of I like the way that the tree, you have this gold branch, you have this rage branch, and in between the two of them is a gold rage upgrade. Let me go further. Golden Knight chance, scale that up. Knight damage plus increases their damage by 2. So really pushing on that. Rage enemies give gold. Sure, might as well. We got no crowns. Yes, that is everything. So spit those guys out. Definitely, I want to push harder on the Golden Knight upgrades. They are like, what they have like 10 times health or whatever craziness, or the scaling of their damage and their health and their everything is so high that the higher the odds of spawning the Golden Knights is just hugely advantageous to us and scales like crazy. So yeah, I definitely want to be investing more in that. It's funny because there aren't, you can see there's not the raged enemies. I don't even think I pointed them out last time because there just aren't that many yet, but it's basically the ones that are reskinned red and have a little bit of a red glow around them. But it's funny to me trying to make like little strategic decisions of like, ooh, what am I going to invest in next, when I think a good part of the game is that it in some ways doesn't matter what you invest in, which, oh, there we go. We're first time making it through one of the dragon bosses. In an incremental game like this, often those choices just kind of don't matter a lot. You just are going to be making progress no matter what you invest in. And so, yeah, it kind of makes those in moment-to-moment decisions moot. But at the same time, it's like, okay, the Golden Knights are working well. I do want to kind of double, triple down on that. Very, very expensive to invest in. So I actually wish, I don't know where this could be shown, but I think it could be an interesting thing to offer the ability to review your unit types. So that the game can show you that you have access to like Knight, Archer, Mage, and how much health they have, damage, chance to be a Golden Knight, those sorts of things, like individual stats per unit. It would be nice to be able to switch over to a screen that reviews some of that stuff. Because right now, 25% chance to spawn a Golden Knight, and now have I added 60%? And then, like, if I have this and 4 investments, does it become 100%? Is it a guaranteed Golden Knight? I genuinely don't know precisely. So that's information I would be curious or interested in having. Let's see. I could do more raged enemies. No, I cannot. Oh yeah, that's an experience one, not a rage one. All right, more archer health it is. More tower health. Ooh, a crown. And that is the only crown option I have available. Necromancy, give 20% chance to bring back defeated allies. And for the next, there's a second tier of that is 2 crowns. Yeah, I think it would be a useful thing, maybe even within individual upgrades like this, especially when there's like 5 tiers of it. I think it would be useful to describe it in a way where it's like each, without over explaining things. We're also working on localizing the game, so I'm a little bit scared of making too heavy of suggestions, but it might be useful to be able to show like increase the movement speed of archers by 0.2, and then maybe underneath that or below the level or something indicate like 0.2 times the number of investments you've made into it, so the end result is, and now it's +1. Sort of thing. And I think since most of these things are stat based like that, and for this, it can say +1, and then underneath that you've scaled it up to 3. Yeah, I think without adding new text, you can kind of just have a component of this that does the math, or maybe it's like hold control to show the result sort of thing. But I think there's room to kind of show that. It's funny because that's more of a personal preference than anything, because realistically it kind of doesn't matter. You're making investments that make your units stronger, and then you pump out infinite numbers of units, and so the precise number that the speed has gone up by, does it really matter? No, probably not. But I know there are, you know, many strategy heavy gamers and just people who just love the stats of gaming, and to be able to measure their power in a very literal sense. I think there are people who will enjoy having access to that sort of stuff. Ooh, we got our double dragon going on over here now. I love their fire effect. The fire breathing is really cool. Holy cow, did they ever rip through the knights. Which makes me wonder if maybe there's room to have a branch on the tree that's like fire resistance or something. But then, like, is that only relevant for this one very particular zone? Is fire a recurring thing that you have to fight back against? Maybe just elemental resistance or something. But holy cow, did they ever get taken out quickly. Alright. Do I want more rage enemies? Like, oh yeah, I'll put one into that, and then I'll spend the other Golden Knight chance, so potentially up to 100% Golden Knight chance. The archers are now decked out. You can see this is cut off with the tank, so the archers are as heavily invested in as they can be. Better mages, and that's about everything I got right now. Maybe I should invest in aura speed, see what that next branch is on the other side there. I think I'm cruising here. I'm cruising. The old demo of the game was very close to about an hour of gameplay, and it was a tiny bit drawn out. Not in any major way, but you know, we just want to make sure that the game is moving forward at a good clip, so that each new attempt that you take, even if it's only like 30 seconds or a minute long, that you feel a power upgrade, and that you feel like you're making that progress. Yeah, I think I am up to 100% Golden Knights, which is actually so sick. They're so strong. And so yeah, we did try to shrink down the demo a little bit, but here I am looking at, like, we're pushing 40 minutes, and like I still have like a pretty healthy amount of stuff in the tree that I still am able to invest in here. So I think the demo is in a really good length right now. Hopefully you guys agree. There will be links in the description. Go check it out for yourself. Right now, I think it is just a playtest. We don't have a specific date for the demo. Very soon, like a scale of like a week or two sort of thing. But yeah, you can play the playtest for yourself right away. But the demo will be coming right up. So, aura speed, strength buff troops attack 20% faster and move 10% faster, when then damage as well. Okay, so the strength aura starts to really add a lot. So it goes from damage to speed to more damage, and then I can make the range. You know what? Let's invest twice in the range. It's cutting off a lot of other opportunities of things to invest in. Cloning, I was still able to invest an additional one in the cloning. That's a little bit unexpected. I expected that to be a little more costly, because in my mind that's like crazy powerful. What am I doing? It sounds like I'm complaining here. Not intentionally. So the range on the buff, I would say, is noticeably bigger, but it's not crazy. It's not like it's suddenly the size of half the screen or anything. I don't think it would feel especially fun if you just had that max crazy enhancement happening to literally every single unit on the screen. Ooh, I love the visual effects, the sound effects, the subtle screen shake of the explosive enemies. Like, I think all of that is really, really well done. Hardly even get to like see them. I feel like they're getting wiped off the screen before they even get to land many hits here. But I still enjoy having them, and it's adds a little bit of warfare chaos. You know, come on, archers! I'm gonna boost the hell out of you here. We're barely holding it together. Can you take out that dragon? You might be able to. It's coming down in the line. Oh, yes. All right, 1 crown. but I'm not going to be able to invest in the necromancer. I guess the game is set up that way. So I completed level 6. I'll have to complete level 7 to get the second crown. I'll be able to put an additional upgrade into the necromancy option here. And then the last level is level 8. So I'm getting very close to the end here. Night damage up. Aura damage boost, sure. Increase the rage gained from defeating enemies by 1 per level. Sure, scale that up. More raged enemies too. Ooh, okay, so right now, the mage boost, improve their damage, their health, their attack speed, and then fire hit enemies burn and take periodic fire damage. You know, the magicians, the mages, they used to shoot fire, and it kind of was a bit much because there's also fire coming from the tower and like the dragons, so we switched it to this magical blast. So I don't know if it still counts as fire or if this is only actually going to affect that. I'm not 100% certain how the game handles fire currently. It's a funny position to be in, to be quite involved in like the playtesting of the game and providing feedback and seeing how it's growing and changing from one build to the next. And now and again something like that comes up and it's like, I don't know how this works. I'm like very involved in the development side of this game, not hands-on. I'm not like coding or drawing it or composing it or anything, but like from a producer perspective, and something like this comes up, it's like, I don't know. Lingering fire. Fire stays on the ground, but that's not in the demo. Ooh. There's also bigger explosion, increases the mage magic attack explosion range, and potentially one more actually purchasable crown branch. But we'll see. Maybe once I reveal that, then we'll see that it is it's drawn in white and that it's not actually available in the demo. It's funny, the last time I talked to the devs, I feel like they were quite nervous. I feel like I'm talking to them at the same time here, that maybe with the way things had kind of been reorganized, rebalanced, that there wasn't enough in the demo anymore. Hard disagree. Hard disagree. I think you've done a fantastic job of finding a middle ground of like, there is still a ton to see and do in this game, and it's still so crazy fun. Like, this first 30 to 60 minutes of gameplay, I have to have done at least like 10 times now. And each time it's been a little bit different because it's been a new build of the game. Adding new enemy types, new unit types, new things like the strength aura, the enraged enemies, the different areas of the game, the different boss types. Like, all this is stuff that's been added over the course of only realistically like a few months. And so it's a huge part of why I'm trying to repeatedly encourage, like, please, I don't know how you got killed when you were like, weren't even on the screen. My archers or something must have just run over and dealt with that. It's pretty funny. But I want to be really, really encouraging, and please, please, please give us feedback, because the game is very, very much taking shape alongside that feedback. A lot of it's come from YouTubers who have showed off the game, which we're incredibly grateful for. But now we're entering this new phase, you know, where we want to have a public demo, we want to be gearing up for a full release, and hearing directly from fans and from players of what they like most about the game will directly influence what gets added. So please, 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 please do come. Ooh, reducing the knight cost is huge, actually. That's such a big one. It's funny that it's just the knights, not the archers, but it's fine. The bigger explosion, and then explosion cascade. Mage explosions have a 25% chance to chain. That's cool. I think I might be trading off this, unless I get to complete level 8, spend that crown, and keep playing, which is probably how it's been designed. Let's invest in the cloning. I could go more into the rage, but let's go knight cost reduction, knight damage plus, and have I missed anything? No, that's it, I'd say. I kind of want to like invest really hard in the mages right off the bat, but they're too expensive for that. Oh, nice. That was a clone mage. I only spawned the one next. Oh, man. The cloning is so huge. Scaling that up is so awesome. I like want to physically watch the mages to see how often it feels like the explosions are happening. And then when they do, like I'm looking off to the right here. It's just kind of aura boosting my golden knights out of my peripheral there, but I want to see the explosions, and I want to see the explosion chain. I don't know if I'm really seeing it. I guess each one of their shots, that burst of magical energy is the explosion. I was thinking maybe there was a regular shot and an explosive shot, and there was kind of a odds of one or the other happening. I might have to reread the upgrade screen and kind of get a feel for that. But yeah, I feel like there's ways to emphasize the chain reaction, that like when a chained explosion takes place, it doesn't look or feel quite the same as the initial explosion. So let me look at that again. Increases the mage magic attack explosion. So that just is their basic attack. Their basic attack does have a tiny bit of an AoE to it, which is what distinguishes them from the archers, really. But I think the base attack explosion, that little burst of purple, great. But then for the cascade, the subsequent explosion should be like a little bit more pink shifted or purple shifted or something, or like the effect of it is a little bit different, because it would be cool to be able to feel where that chain reaction is happening relative to you just blasting the hell out of everything by having a lot of mages. Or a speed, yeah, or a damage, go a bit more there, more gold. Now we're really getting into the corners here, where there realistically isn't that much more, and a lot of the things that are left to invest in are just like earn more gold, earn more rage. There's a tiny bit more like power scaling stuff, but it's starting to drift towards more economy stuff, which is all, you know, late game. In the full game, you know, you would now have access to the tank and to, I don't know, a bunch of different branches here that are currently cut off. And so the fact that I'm left with mostly kind of economy stuff is just because I put off investing in it very heavily. Oh, those golden knights, baby. That feels good. Oh, they're monsters. Holy cow. Okay. I think the bringing down the knight cost let me get so many more of them on the board, and cloning. The cloning happens so much more often now. The amount of units I had scaled up like absolutely mad there. And but maybe it's because I have the way higher aura boost too. Funny blood trail with the archers like running off there. But yeah, in the full game, you wouldn't quite be stuck in a position of like, oh, all that's left is rage increase stuff. It's like, no, you would have all sorts of new other branches to explore, which hopefully allows the game to feel a tad more strategic as it grows. That you could decide, hey, you know what, I don't care that much about rage right now. I want to be investing in tanks. I want to be going towards lingering fire, healing my units. Like, you can be investing in some of that stuff. Astral beam. Oh, baby. Okay, I've not saved up the rage for that. Maybe I should be saving my rage. Use left click to cast a massive astral beam from the sky. 10-second cooldown. Decimate everything. I love the text emphasizing that. Ooh, I want to spend this rage. Okay, more rage enemies. That costs. I wonder if... Oh, do you know what? I think they are a slightly different shape when they cost rage. They totally are. So that's well done by the devs. So you can see everything here is a rage cost. And I think I'm gonna pass. Like, maybe I would earn enough, but the fact that I'm sitting on about halfway towards that upgrade, and I just invested in a couple things that will help my rage economy scale better. It's like maybe I could have spent it all and then still earned enough to buy the astral beam, but I don't want to chance it. I want that astral beam. That is going to be satisfying, and it's one of the few things in this build that I haven't seen already, so I'm like unbelievably excited to see how that comes together. I feel like that level of devastation is going to be satisfying, as if having these swarms, colonies, hordes, whatever we're going to call them, of golden knights scrambling around the screen, as if that already doesn't feel phenomenal. Man, you guys, stay the hell away from the tower. Oh, where did my golden knights go? Oh, I think they all pieced out. I think either they all died or they all ran up the top of the screen there. Well, everyone bailed. They just decided the tower doesn't need saving today. Perfect. I did end up with the rage needed. More rage gain. There we go. but oh, cool, 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 cool. It seems like that'll be really useful for, like, can be used as an indicator when that cooldown is ready. But I'm saving it the tiniest bit. It has a 10-second cooldown, so I don't want to put it off too much, but I do want to use it on, like, a group of enemies, not just, like, 3 enemies. There we go. Group of bears. Oh, okay. Okay. I was just like, wow, that's a little bit dinky. It didn't feel like much. It didn't, the sound effect, the visual effect, like, it's quite narrow, but no, that was just, like, the wind-up. Oh, oh, there's so much effects work to it. Like, it has a lot of color warping, and the screen kind of warped a little bit too. That felt powerful. Okay, let's drop one of those on the bosses. Do you know what? It's really, really hard to tell when it has... Oh, yeah, I just nuked the boss like crazy there. And now it's all in slow-mo. Actually, you know what? Maybe that shouldn't happen that way, because, like, then I don't know. I don't know how to balance that, but I felt like I was able to just... Although that would only happen when you defeated a boss, and at that point you've kind of won the level anyways, because I was like, I can just do this in slow-mo and melt absolutely everything. Having those rings in the center feels like a really easy way to represent when that cooldown, like when it's ready to be cast again. But in the chaos of battle, it's really hard to see that. And, like, you know, center ring, middle ring, full ring, the first one should color in 3 seconds in, then, you know, 6.6 or whatever, and then 10 seconds in. And when it does, it should, like, blink or indicate in some more easy to spot way in the chaos of when it's ready to be used again. Maybe that does mean having something somewhere on the screen that indicates when that cooldown's ready, something in the UI that exists above the combat. But I think part of the appeal of the game is how clean the UI is. So, thank you all for playing, for checking out the playtest, all that good stuff. You can keep messing around the game if you wanted. Go deeper into the necromancy, a few more things on, like, rage gain and feeding into the strength aura. But realistically, these upgrades are pretty minimal relative to where we're already at, and there's no further levels to work your way through or anything. That is the complete experience as we currently have it. I'm very excited for this one. I think it's putting a really fun spin on these kind of defense-based incrementals. It's done a really good job of of following the lead of some of those other games and borrowing what have become some of the tropes of the genre, but expanding upon them and making it a more full experience. And I really can't commend the devs enough. I think they've done a fantastic job. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon.